Micron just fell more than 10% intraday, on top of another sharp drop days earlier. Everyone's panicking, and me, I'm putting in buy orders. Fast disclaimer before anything else. This is my personal opinion and speculation only. It is not financial advice, I'm not a licensed advisor, and buying the dip carries real risk. A stock can keep falling and a thesis can be wrong, so please do your own research. Okay, let me show you why my conviction hasn't moved an inch. Start with what's indisputable. On June 24th, Micron reported, one of the most dramatic earnings surprises I've ever seen, from a large-cap chip maker. Revenue $46 billion up, roughly 346% year-over-year. Non-GAAP EPS of $25.11, well past the $20.49 expected. And a gross margin of 84.9%, up from around 45% a year earlier. That's fact, not opinion. It's the foundation of everything I'm about to say. So if the quarter was that strong, why did the stock crater? Two headlines. One, Apple. A day after the report, Apple raised prices on Macs and iPads, explicitly blaming rising memory chip costs. Apple fell over 6%, and it dragged the whole chip sector down. The story flipped overnight from Micron is printing money to Micron's pricing. Power is now hurting everyone else, to Meta. Days later, reports said Meta plans to pivot from a pure buyer of AI compute into a provider leasing cloud capacity against AWS and Azure. That sparked fears of AI compute oversupply. Micron fell nearly 10%, Marvel over 7%, the whole AI infra complex got hit. And here's the part that hits home for me in Korea. Today, that same drop slammed Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix, both down sharply. Long-time viewers will remember when Micron's blowout. Lifted my Korean covered call ETF a week ago, I said the memory complex moves as one. Well, that wire runs both ways. The exact ripple that ran in my favor on the way up just ran against me on the way down. Same three-company oligopoly, same shared signal. None of that surprises me. What matters is whether the signal itself actually changed. I don't think it did. Here's my honest take. Neither headline changes the one thing that actually matters. How much memory the world needs for AI, and how much Micron sells and earns from it. Apple raising prices because memory costs are climbing? That's confirmation of pricing power, not a threat to it. And whether Meta buys compute or sells it, the underlying AI workloads still devour enormous amounts of memory. This is the discipline I carried from 17 years of running big projects. Define in advance what would actually threaten the plan, and treat everything else as noise. On a project, a competitor's press release doesn't change my timeline. A broken critical path milestone does. For Micron, the only thing that changes my thesis is Micron's own revenue or profit rolling over, a rival's pivot, and a customer's price tag are noise, layered on top of the real signal. So my approach is simple, and honestly a little stubborn. As long as Micron's revenue and earnings keep climbing, I keep buying the dips. This isn't a fading cycle. They guided next quarter to roughly $50 billion in revenue, up from about $11 billion a year earlier. And management calls the shortage structural, saying they can fill only about half to two-thirds of HBM demand. That's not a company riding a wave. That's a company that can't make chips fast enough. One more reason I'm watching closely. Samsung is expected to give preliminary Q4 guidance around July 7th, since Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron are the global memory oligopoly. Samsung's numbers are a cross-check on everything Micron just told us. If Samsung confirms the same story, rising prices, tight HBM, strong AI demand, it proves this is an industry-wide structural shift, not a Micron-only story. I'll be watching it as closely as I watched Micron. My rule for this whole cycle is straightforward. Keep buying weakness while revenue and profit grow. The day that actually reverses not an Apple price hike, not a Meta headline, but Micron's own numbers. Turning down is the day I reconsider. Until then, every double-digit pullback looks like an opportunity, not a warning. And one more time, sincerely, this is just how I think about my own money. It is not a recommendation. Buying the dip can go wrong. You can lose principal, do your own research, and talk to a licensed professional. If you want my breakdown of Samsung's July 7 numbers when they land, subscribe. And tell me in the comments, noise or signal. See you in the next one.